Byte Club, welcome back to another edition of Fan Friday, where this week's question comes to us from one of our lovely gold patrons who writes, Ryan has Raw, Juan has SmackDown. If the draft was today, who would you guys take in the first 10 rounds? So first of all, Joe W., thanks a lot for the question, brother. We actually did something like this before the draft happened, but now that it's happened, we also had a little bit of a shake-up. Ryan, you and I, we're going to be doing this, buddy. So you ready?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm feeling so nice. You get the first pick.
Wow. All right. So for my first pick, I would take AJ Styles. So AJ Styles, I would have as sort of the backbone for my entire show. He's going to be he's going to be able to do all the high profile matches and be in a lot of the top feuds. So I want AJ Styles as my first pick.
See, I knew you were going to do that. You just had to mess up my list.
I got the hat on, man. I had to draft
It's a phenomenal hat, I may add.
Thank you.
But because you got AJ, my first pick is going to be Kevin Owens. I think that Kevin Owens is charismatic. He is excellent in the ring. He's not the high flyer the way AJ is, but, he can high fly, and he doesn't look like he would be able to, so that's why I got to go with Owens.
All right, my second pick, I would take John Cena. Now, I know John Cena isn't around all the time, but without question, he's still the biggest star in WWE. So for that draw factor, you get AJ Styles as your backbone to carry the show throughout the year. But I got to bring in the extra, got to get a little extra spicy with the star power. So I'll take John Cena. My
number two, and I'm sticking, I guess, with the more heelistic options. It's going to be the monster among men. I'm going to go with Braun Strowman. I've said it so many times on the podcast that it's been years since WWE has had a legitimate monster. We have the Beast, and Big Show is ginormous, right? Mark Henry's huge. But few people have the presence that Braun Strowman has been able to develop, especially in such a short amount of time. So pick number two, Braun.
All right, for my third pick, I think it would be a crime to go this far without picking somebody from The Shield. I'm going to take Seth Rollins. Rollins, I know, character-wise and storyline-wise, hasn't been as interesting lately, but I still think that there is a lot of potential for Seth Rollins, and he's always solid in the ring and can deliver on the mic when he needs to.
Not a bad pick. I was actually contemplating going with Rollins, but my fourth pick is going to end up being Dean Ambrose to sort of counteract that. Now, admittedly enough, I've not been a big fan of babyface Ambrose, but keep in mind, I'm going to be going to SmackDown Live, and it's my SmackDown Live, and I'm going to make sure that Dean Ambrose is not just the lunatic fringe. He's not just going to be all crazy sticking his tongue out. He's really going to be the top dog of SmackDown Live.
Well, speaking of dogs, I have to take the big dog, Roman Reigns. Whether people want to admit it or not, Roman Reigns is a star, and he can deliver in the ring. Sure, not everyone's crazy about his mic skills, but that's not what Roman Reigns has to be about. He can just be the badass that beats people down, and hey, it's his yard, so I'll take Roman Reigns.
I feel like I should go with Rick Steiner just to keep on the topic of dogs, but man, I got a lot of heels on my list because my number four, and I think I said Ambrose number four, not sure, but my number four is Bobby Roode. So Bobby Roode just got called up to SmackDown Live, even though he still has unfinished business in NXT and will be taking care of said business. So I think that's really cool how they are allowing him to have that sort of transitional period. But I think that Bobby Roode is the next generation or the current generation's Triple H. I think a lot of people are high flyer. They're super fancy. You got your Finn Balor's, you got your Dean Ambroses, your Seth Rollinses. Bobby Roode is the solid wrestler. You look at him and he looks like a superstar. You know how people always said, if you built a superstar from the ground up, he will look like Randy Orton. Like right now, they will look gloriously like Bobby Roode.
All right, so you've been taking a lot of heels. I've been taking a lot of baby faces. I think it's about time I pick a great heel, and that is going to be Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's a great heel. He comes off as a total badass who's just going to beat people down and doesn't give a damn about anybody else. So Samoa Joe is my pick.
This is going to be an interesting pick. I don't think everybody would agree with this, but my number 5 is going to be Xavier Woods. I have said it.
I know you got love for Xavier Woods. I do too.
The fact of the matter is Xavier Woods is so talented and he's being wasted. Like, there's so much potential in this guy as a single superstar. He's ultra charismatic. He blends in different generations. He's got the gaming generation. He's got up, down, down. He goes on YouTube channels. Like, he is in. Like, he is where most superstars would realistically probably like to be when it comes to like interactivity on social media and all that stuff. I mean, he's beaten people in Mario Kart Double Dash tournaments, and that is the guy that I would like to have as my WWE champion, which maybe says, a lot about me, but dead serious. Xavier Woods out of the New Day, or even if he's still in the New Day and he's just given that one-on-one opportunity and possibly becoming champion, he could go far.
All right, my next pick, I'm going to take Finn Balor.
Damn it.
Finn Balor, yeah. I'm surprised he's gone this low, but clearly a star in the making. He had a very initial strong showing, becoming the first ever Universal Champion, and is working his way back up to the top of the card. There's a ton of potential for Balor, so I'm taking him.
I am going to keep going down my NXT well, and actually I'll go more to the UK well. And as my current babyface pick, it's going to be one of my favorite superstars in the UK tournament and the first ever WWE United Kingdom champion, and that is Tyler Bate. If you want to talk about investing in a future superstar, considering the man he's only 20. He's only 20 years old. Put that into perspective. I am 7 years older than him, and he is probably more talented than half that roster. He should not be as good as he is, and he's so likable. And above everything, he is charismatic in the ring. He doesn't need a microphone. Like, the way he's able to move into, in that ring, he's able to look at the crowd, he feels like he's a superstar, acts like a superstar, and is my number 6 superstar.
So for my number 7, I'm going to take Charlotte. So no one's drafted any women yet, but Charlotte at one point was at the, on top of the world in the women's division, and she has that aura around her that truly makes her walk, talk, and act like a star, and can be positioned as such. So for my linchpin for the women's division, I'll take Charlotte.
I was originally going to go with Sasha next, so you may take her, but realistically the one that I want is Asuka, because I think that Asuka has such an enormous amount of potential, especially because, she never lost the NXT Women's Championship. Unfortunately, due to her injury, she relinquished the championship, which you made a video about that on the YouTube channel. And it's unfortunate. I saw a post on this actually, since you bring up Charlotte on Square Circle, saying it's a shame that we don't have Charlotte's undefeated pay-per-view streak versus the undefeated Asuka as a storyline. And we'll never get it because one of those two is no longer a factor. But Asuka is she's not a believable sports entertainer. She's a believable badass. And you need a really good badass to build up a solid division.
All right, so my number 8 pick, I am going to take The Miz. Now, The Miz has his ups and downs for sure, but there's one thing about him you can't deny, and that is he's versatile. You can pretty much put him anywhere you need him, and he will deliver. He's excellent on the mic. He can be a great foil to any good guy, and is just a solid person to have, media, all that. You can't go wrong with The Miz.
If you've been a long-time listener, this next pick should in no way be a surprise. Ryan, who do you think I'm going to go with? Come on. You got to know.
I really don't know.
Fandango.
I just thought it as you said it.
So ideally, if we were to pick tag teams, I would go with Breezango. But if I had to split them up and really talk about the potential that these people have, look no further than Fandango. Like, if you look at his Chet Chatterfield character in Southpaw Regional Wrestling, you know exactly what he's capable of. Look at the awkwardness. Like, this goes all the way back. Look at NXT Redemption. It's the same freaking guy. They actually brought back Johnny Curtis.
Still bringing it up, ladies and gentlemen.
Still bringing it up. everybody that's been supporting me in this movement when Ryan has emotionally spit in my face. It finally happened. Fandango's getting over. The Fashion Police is getting over. I'm going to make him hold every championship on SmackDown Live, including the freaking Women's Championship, and I'm bringing back the European Championship, and I'm going to give him that too, Ryan. I'm pissed now. I'm going to leave. No,
all right, well, number 9, number 9, who's being picked after Fandango and Xavier Woods, I'm going to take Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah.
The contrast is real.
Yep, Nakamura. I mean, this guy, he's unorthodox. He may not be for everybody, but if there's one thing about him, he's got charisma, and his theme song kicks ass, and the crowd gets into it. So, get me some Shinsuke.
Keep in mind, when I pick everybody that I'm picking, I'm not thinking about ratings. I'm being super jealous about building the show that I want to build. I'm aware at the moment I pick Fandango. As much as I love him, I ain't going to be getting 5-star shows. And I'm going to go with Rusev. I think Rusev...
That's a good pick, actually. If I remembered, I would have taken him.
And that right there shows the problem. Rusev is the guy that whenever people bring him up, it's like, oh man, he deserves so much better. But if he's not on TV, you don't really hear people talking about Rusev, and that's the problem because he gets stuck with the stereotypical character. When he was back there with Lana, then Lana sort of got more over than Rusev. And then, you look back at the rivalry with John Cena, which as entertaining as it was, you knew where it was going to end. So he's always been in this similar spot as Jinder Mahal, as any heel character, which is you're there, more so in the Bray Wyatt spot, really. Your job is to lose to the other guy. And it seems like we just cannot get out of that. And I'm going to do my best to prevent that on SmackDown Live, Juan Edition.
All right, so for my final pick, this might be an odd one considering we got names like Randy Orton and Sami Zayn still on the board. But I am taking Matt Hardy. So I don't care what version or whatever he wants to call it, but I think I would find a loophole to get the Broken Universe into WWE, whether you have to call it Woken Matt Hardy or Shattered Matt Hardy or whatever. That creative genius that is Matt Hardy will be utilized.
There's a lot of options. Like, I have a list of about 20 people, and just building up a brand, realistically, it is quite the task. So my last pick, if you're going to go with Matt Hardy, I'm actually going to go with Johnny Wrestling. I'm going to go with Johnny Gargano. I'm thinking, once again, long-term. I think that Johnny Gargano, and I mentioned this in my NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3 review, he reminds me a lot of Daniel Bryan. He is so likable. He is a natural, likable guy. Like, not in the babyface, heel sense, like in the wrestling sense. You look at him, and naturally, you are somehow glued to what this guy is going to be doing. Like, the whole reason that people hated Tommaso Ciampa's heel turn against him, in a good way, right, was because it's like, these two guys are legitimate best friends. Look at the Glorious Bombs when they used to do that. Like, if anybody else did that, it would not be as successful as it was. And I think that Johnny Gargano moving to the main roster and doing really good things like that would pay exceptionally well for the heels like a Samoa Joe, especially like think about Johnny wrestling versus Kevin Owens, because Johnny Gargano is admittedly a little bit undersized, but that plays into the factor and goes all the way back to the Dana Bryan comparison. So, to recap, ladies and gentlemen, while I show Ryan's face on the YouTube version of this, Ryan's top 10 draft picks. We got Matt Hardy in the Broken Universe. We got Shinsuke Nakamura, The Miz, Charlotte Flair, The Damon, Finn Balor, the Samoan Submission Machine, the Inevitable Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, John Cena, and the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Now for myself, I got at number 10, Johnny Gargano, then followed by Rusev, Fandango, Asuka, Tyler Bate, Xavier Woods, Bobby Roode, Dean Ambrose, Braun Strowman, and Kevin Owens. Those are two very, very different rosters. But realistically, is that not what you really want out of a brand split? Like, more so than just having very similar rosters and just two different shows on two different nights? How nice would that be for you, Ryan? Just having two different rosters with very distinctive styles.
Yeah, I mean, it gives either people the option to choose whichever show they want to stick to, or just have a good amount of variety between the two shows. No one wants to watch 5 hours of wrestling and feel like they watch the same thing the entire time. I think variety is the spice of life. So certainly having those different atmospheres to the shows is an important thing to have.
Agreed, man. So once again, Gold Patreon supporter Joe Windingland, thank you so much for the awesome question. Folks, we would love to know, out of these two brands, which one would you tune into the most? If you're listening to us on Byte That Plus, drop a review and send us an email, bytethatcast@gmail.com, and let us know which brand you prefer best for the entire Byte Club. Which would be your 10 primary draft picks? Drop those in the comments or on social media, Twitter, Byte That Cast on most places. We're just waiting for Keith to come back. So until next time, thank you for watching and listening, and we will be back with a lot more right here on Byte That.